Hey guys, what's up? I'm just gonna do a quick rundown of the new runes and what they mean for Vlad. I'm gonna go kind of quickly and skip over the shit that I don't think matters. So let's get into it. We're gonna start off with Resolve. So Resolve, basically all three of these you won't be able to take. Some of you that like the tank your Vlad path, you might want to use this as your secondary like keystone, not keystone, your secondary tree. So we can go into the strength. Um Anything here that might be useful, maybe demolish. I can see if you want to split push. End game you got a decent amount of health and get out of here. End game you got a decent amount of health, so you can do some damage to the towers with the 30% of your max health, definitely. Unflinching will be pretty good for you. If you have trouble like pulling when you like flash or ghost, I mean, I don't really think you need this because you have pull, but if you suck at it, you might be able to get away with that. And then Fawn of Life is mainly for like team fighting. It works well with your E, but other than that, I don't advise taking it. Resistance, I'd say Iron Skin and Mirror Shell both suck. You'd want conditioning, I think, as Vlad. So after 10 minutes, you gain both armor and magic resist. I personally would never take this. I might take Overgrowth, honestly, because it works well, synergizes with your health. I might do Revitalize because of the healing increase, and you can also use Second Wind because of the amount of health you end up having. Endgame, you get damaged, you'll heal up for a decent amount. But honestly, I don't think you need to go into Resolve Tree. This is if you like to tank your Vlad. For Domination, if you were a Thunderlord's user, you might want to go into this tree and take Electrocute for your Keystone. It is a little weaker early game with a longer cooldown. To make up for that, they give you more base damage, and it scales all the way down to 25 seconds. It's not that bad. I may use it if the team is entirely squishy, but that's probably the only time I will. Predator sucks. You won't be using that. I saw some people talking about Dark Harvest. If you like this as a noob trap, if you're playing Vlad, you should not be taking this. Basically, you farm and you get like an enhanced auto attack. The problem is this is targeted for junglers. I mainly feel like because you get them from champions, you get them from large monsters and large minions. So being in lane, you either have to kill your opponent all the time, or you're gonna have to like take your own your own camps from your jungler, and it's just not worth it. And plus, you have to auto to proc it. It's kind of hard to do sometimes. As far as like what all the other aspects of it, I believe you could go into domination if you wanted. Cheap shot might be decent. It works well with your E. Um, Taste of Blood might work well with you. I think you have enough healing as it is though, so it might be overkill. Sudden impact, nope. Tracking, I believe that Ghost Poro is probably the strongest, like one of the strongest non-keystone runes in the entire game. It's just insane how strong it is. I'm not a big fan of Zombie Ward when you can go Ghost Poro and Eyeball Collection. I just don't understand it. I don't like it. Let's see. And then here, Ravenous Hunter. You might like Ravenous Hunter might be okay for you, but if you're looking for like one of these hunter ones, why wouldn't you like Ingenious Hunter for your proto belts and Zonia's users? You'll have it out more often, and then even Relentless Hunter would be fine. I probably would be going into Malice and taking, if I went this route, I'd probably go in Cheap Shot and a Ghost Portal though. Probably wouldn't be using one of the hunters. You don't roam that much usually on Vlad, so I don't think you'll get the full benefit of going in this tree. Alright, Precision. For Precision, I don't see anyone using any of these, honestly. Um, Same here. I don't think any of these would be that good. Maybe Triumph, but it's not. You don't get like the full use out of it, I don't feel like. Because you're in a lane with one person. So you won't be catching on this 25 gold, additional 25 gold that often, whereas if you're in bot lane, you have 2 potential people you can kill, and with the way that bot lane's been going lately, with like plenty of people heading down, you sometimes have 3 or 4 people you could kill at a time. So I don't think any of these are that good. Legend, the legend tenacity would be pretty decent, I guess. I don't think it warrants I don't think the rest of these warrant going into this tree though at all. Yeah. So I would not recommend going to precision at all as Vlad. It's sorcery. I think sorcery is one of the better ones. My favorite here, I'll say right now, is Phase Rush. It's basically a both buffed and nerfed version of Storm Raiders. I'll say it's buffed in that you no longer have to do a certain amount of like health damage to like proc it, so it's gonna be easier to proc on tanks. But as far as the rest of it, the movement speed has gotten nerfed. I believe the cooldown got nerfed as well. I think Storm Raiders had a 10-second cooldown before. Correct me if I'm wrong below, please. And you no longer get the slow resistance because you're not melee. So it is like kind of a nerfed version, but buffed in that like one aspect. Arcane Comet. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like it's really easy to dodge. After you get like tier 1 boots, you pretty much like, unless you hit them with a slow or like stun or something, you should always be able to dodge to the comet if you know it's coming, because you just keep walking and the projectile speed is so slow that it won't hit you in time. But what does make it like pretty decent is probably the 8 seconds late game. Like you can probably proc 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 comets during a team fight, and that's AoE damage. So it's interesting like that. Other than that, I don't see use in comet. I think it's like too avoidable to be useful. Then summon area, you don't get the full benefit because you have no shield, so I wouldn't go into this. I do think as far as sorcery though that a lot of the points in it are good. Like I love ultimate hat. Yes, it'll take a while to stack, but in one of my games, maxed out ultimate hat with 45% CDR, which you'll see later that you can get. I had like an ultimate of like 50 seconds. It was up basically all the time. I loved it. I'd use it in a team fight, go like wipe them, do whatever, go to another lane, push it out, and then I would hide in the jungle, wait for them to respawn and like come out to get vision or whatever, and I would have it up already to kill them, and then we were able to grab like Baron really easily because of it. So I do like ultimate hat. It takes a while to scale, so if you have a really early game comp, maybe don't go into ultimate hat. Mana flow band is pretty useless. Nullifying orb, I don't know if I like it. I haven't personally used it. I can see how it might be viable against like a burst mage, like laying against a burst mage, but you have your W and your heal to like work around it, so that's why I've been going ultimate hat. Let's see, for excellence, pretty much every single time I've been going transcendence to get the 10% CDR. You won't use the all of the cooldowns passive on it that often, because it's actually pretty hard to hit 40% CDR these days, just because you want to be building AP items, not like 3 damn CDR items. It's hard because most of the time we don't get to go like the big 20% items like Morella Namkhan or Nashor's Tooth. It really sucks. We're getting gypped right now in my opinion, and as far as items, it's hard for us to hit the CDR cap now, but you don't get the entire use out of it, but I do love the 10% CDR you get. Some people are going celerity. I can see how you might like the use out of it. Also, for Luden's Echo players, you do receive AP for going Luden's Echo, which is nice. And then Absolute Focus, I don't know. I don't like it. A lot of the time in team fights, you get kind of low as Vlad, so you won't always have that ability power. Oh, excuse me. All right, and then power. For power, I've been going. I was doing Gathering Storm, Gathering Storm, in my opinion, outscales the rest of these at about like 30 minutes on. But the problem is a lot of my games have been ending around like 20 to like 25 minutes. Games have been really snowbally. I don't know about you guys. Um, so I've been getting the full use of Gathering Storm. I did go Scorch. Scorch was okay. It's basically a worse version of Deathfire Touch that only comes up every 20 seconds. But Water Walking would be kind of decent too, I guess, if you play a Proto Belt Vlad and you like to roam a lot. So you just, I say you like to play Proto Belt Vlad because Proto Belt Vlad just has way better wave clear in my opinion, because you just like E Proto Belt waves dead and then you go gank. At least that's what I do. So I could see myself taking Water Walking for that reason. Other than that, I think Gathering Storm, once the meta gets figured out and games start going longer again, I think Gathering Storm will be decent. So this is the keystone. I've been going Phase Rush pretty much as my keystone. Inspiration. So I like Kleptomania is kind of interesting. I just don't think it synergizes that well with Vlad because you have to weave in auto attacks. Glacial Augment I don't like either. You don't really build any items that slow, so you don't get the full use of the freeze ray where you have to have an active item that slows. Maybe the people that build that item with the spooky ghosts, I forget what it's called, like Frost Queen's Claim or something, you might find use in it, but I'm not one of those people, so the only viable keystone I could see here is like Unsealed Spellbook. You go start out the game maybe with a Flash Ignite, try and get that cheeky like level 3, level 2, 3, 4 kill, you know, where you hit that pretty big power spike if they're not respecting your Qs. But and then changing to like Ignite or like even Teleport. I mean, not changing from Ignite to like Teleport, Exhaust, or Ghost. I could definitely see that. Sorry. Gotta sneeze. Ooh, that hurt. So I could see Unsealed Spellbook being useful like that. Okay, Contraption. From these, sometimes what I've been doing mainly is like I said, taking Phase Rush, and I've been going to Inspiration, but I don't take any of these. I don't really like Hextep Flash Traption. I don't know, it's just the channel that kind of ruins it for me. I don't see the point in it, and I'm pretty sure it can get interrupted, and then it goes on a 10-second cooldown. So when are you actually going to get good use out of it? I don't see one. Biscuit Delivery. A lot of higher elo people I've seen been talking about how good it is, but it's because you get both the health and the mana, whatever you want to call it, back. But when you're Vlad, you don't get that. You get the 20% missing health instead, and well, I could do that with 2 Qs. And then Perfect Timing. This could be useful. I just like, I'm gonna end up building Zonias a lot of my games anyways if they have a lot of AD, especially now that CDR is so hard to get. So I wouldn't be going this because I'm gonna be building it anyways. And I know it does reduce the cooldown of Zonias when you like take it, but I just think the other runes and the rest of this page are better, and I'll explain why. What I've been taking is Magical Footwear, because along with that CDR rune that you get at 10 minutes, you get boots at 10 minutes for free, and you hit a pretty big power spike at that time that the enemy doesn't expect, because you get free boots. So you get a free 300 gold, more than 300 gold, because that's the movement speed bonus as well. And you get the 10% CDR at 10 minutes, and you hit a really big power spike, and that's when I've been seeing myself getting a lot of kills lately, and that's why I've been taking the Magical Footwear. That, and I like to get early boots, usually like early completed boots by around like 12 minutes. I try most games, whether it's the CDR boots or the Magic 10 ones. So by getting this, I am putting those off like a little further, but I do upgrade for 50 gold less, so I think it's worth it. And then make sure I pretty much can always buy my boots by that 12-minute mark. Futures market, not a big fan of this. It's kind of a weird. I don't see how it really has a place in the game. It's one of the runes I didn't even like the idea of. Maybe for some of you Void Staff users, like Void Staff rushers, you might want this. But other than that, a lot of the time I don't really notice having that bad of a problem with getting my items with Vlad. And I can wait for him. Honestly, Vlad's strong enough to where he's like probably 1 or 2 item dependent, getting some of those magic pen items or playmaking items such as Zonya's or Hex Tech Proto Belt. But after that, his power spikes don't really come with items. They come with like making plays with your items, I would say, if that makes sense. Alright, Minion Dematerializer. I don't understand this at all. Basically just helps you clear waves of minions, and Vlad doesn't have a problem with that. Well, he does early game, but as soon as you get some levels in your E, like, it doesn't matter. So, and then beyond, I've been going Cosmic Insight. I'm a big CDR fan. I love CDR and Vlad. And honestly, the item I build Proto Belt most games. I build Zonias in a lot of games. So I'll make use out of all these. So you get the 5 free percent reduction. You can go up to 45%. Like I said, I build Zonia's Proto Belt, so I make use of that. And then the 5% Summoner Spell reduction. If you play Vlad, you fucking love your Flash being up all the time. You love your Ignite being up all the time. So I think this is a really good rune for Vlad. Even if you're not one of those CDR playing Vlads, like I don't know what else would be better here. The 10% movement speed towards allied champions, maybe it's kind of like a little mini Soraka passive in a way, but I have Proto Belt and to gap close, and the only time I could see use with this is running towards a catch up to a team fight maybe. But teams should be winning for me. A lot of the time I start the team fights with like flashing in or Proto Belting in with an alt, W and out, so I don't have a problem with that. And then Celestial Body is pretty shitty in general, just because the 100 permanent health damage for 10% less to champions and monsters for 10 minutes, that's awful. Not worth it. Not worth it at all. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. It was just like a quick rundown. If you have any questions, clarifications, or gripes with what I said, just throw it in the comments below and we can talk about it. I would love to hear what you guys are using, why you hate the runes, why you love the runes this season. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Take it easy.